Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. And loads going on. We were streaming yesterday, of course, and also on Patreon now, a crossword solve for aficionados of the cryptic crossword, and also extra padlocked solution videos on Patreon, as well as this month's monthly reward, the Paint by Numbers Institute educational pack, which has proved very popular with Patreons. Thank you very much if you support us on Patreon, and if you've been having a go at those puzzles, well done. We've had a number of correct solutions in. So we've also, of course, got loads of merchandise and apps available on the links under the video, and Sudoku Pad, that is available too. So loads going on at the moment, lots of work going on in and around the channel as well. So we're really looking forward to bringing some of those things to you. But anyway, this is The Devil's Whirlpool by Marvin Canhauser. And I think regulars on the channel will have some idea from the title and from some of the shapes in this grid what might well be going on here. But we will see. Do give this a try on the link under the video. I'm going to go through the rules now. Normal Sudoku rules. Digits in cages sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. There are only 2 of those cages. Digits along arrows sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So those 2 add up to the same as that. In large circles without arrows, that's these 2, the indicated digit must appear in one of the surrounding cells. So there's a 9 somewhere there and an 8 somewhere there. Cells separated by a small white dot must contain consecutive digits. So those 2 cells, for instance, could be 3 and 4 or 9 and 8. Now there's no negative constraint. It doesn't mean that these 2 can't contain consecutive digits, but apparently this is enough to solve the puzzle. Do give it a try. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. And yeah, I mean, I think there is a very real chance that we will be looking at this ring, the Fistomophel ring. We call Fistomophel the devil very often in our titles, and the whirlpool suggests a ring, and these 4 2x2 areas are all seem significant. They're where the numbered clues actually are in this puzzle. So I don't know for sure, but I suppose if this was 9, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll put off explaining the principles behind Fistomophel. Let's see if we can do anything else first, because I've just noticed this 27 cage has to have a 9 in it, because otherwise it would be 8, 7, 6, 5 at the maximum, but that only adds up to 26. So there's definitely a 9 in that area. Let's pencil mark that. There's clearly a 9 in here, because that's exactly what that clue means. Now that's using up the 9s for columns 8 and 9. Where does the 9 go in column 7? Well, it can't be in that box or in that box, and it can't be on a 2-cell arrow, because it would have to add to something else to give the number in the circle. So we can actually get a number in the grid straight away. We can put a 9 in there. And maybe that's the extent of what we can do. No, hang on. Yeah, it's a similar sort of thing, actually. Where does 8 go in row 7? Oh, that's quite helpful. 8 doesn't go in these 3 cells because we know it's in those 4 cells in this box. So it can't be there. 8 can't be on a 3-cell arrow. It couldn't be on that 2-cell arrow. It could be on that one, but it can't be on this one because the minimum total for the arrow would be 11. We can't put that in one cell. So it's not in any of those cells. So in row 3, it's in one of those. And that means it's not in this cage. Now I think there's only one possibility left. 9 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 is 27. So that's what's in the cage. It's a 9, 7, 6, 5 cage. Now what's on the dot, on the consecutive Kropke dot? Well, 8 isn't, because it would have to go with 9 or 7, but they're locked in the cage. So 8's not there, and we get another full digit in the grid, and we haven't used the Fistomophel ring at all yet. Now, Let's keep going if we can. 8 is going to need a 1 on its arrow. And that 1 therefore can't appear here, so it must appear down here. So these cells are from 2, 3 and 4, and they must include a 3 because of the consecutive dot. And that means this arrow is 1, 2, 5. I think we may have been sold a pup here. Maybe we don't need the Fistamafell ring at all. I mean, maybe it would help, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm far from convinced, and it may help later anyway. But now, because we got a 2 there, this is clearly a 3, 4 pair. Therefore, we get a 1, 2 pair here. Oh, and look what that does to this circle and arrow. That's beautiful. We've got a 1, 2 pair there. So the minimum for those is 3 and 4. And the maximum for that is 7 because of the 9, 8. So we can fill in a 7 in the circle here. We get a 3, 4 pair here. We get a 5, 6 pair up here. And this either, well, they're obviously consecutive. So this is a string, but it can't be 5, 6, 7. It must go 6, 5, 4, I think. So we can fill in a 4. And that's actually not what I was expecting. I was thinking these were going to be totally minimized because these numbers are quite high, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect anymore in this puzzle. All expectations have been completely confounded. Right, we get a 6, 7, 9 triple at the beginning of row 7. And this is a series of 4 consecutive numbers. Well, they can't involve 3 or 4 because you can't use the 5. So this must be 6, 7, 8 and 9. We can put 7, 8 in the middle of that string, 6, 9 on the ends. We get a 3, 4 pair in the box. Oh, that's going to mean this isn't a 3, 4 pair. Don't know what else it is. This could be anything. Yeah, this is not quite such a helpful consecutive string because we could go back and use the same numbers there. So that's not so useful as the other 4 cell strings. This is either, well, there's quite a few possibilities. Can we use this? It doesn't have to be a full sequence because that could be the same number as that, and that could be the same number as that. I don't know what to do there. Oh, right, up here, this arrow. Right, what can these be? They can't be 4, 5, 6, 7, or indeed 9. So they're from 1, 2, 3, and 8. Yes. Okay, so I'm now going to change this circle. I was going to fill in, at one point, you could have filled in 6, 7, 8, 9, because it's adding 3 digits. And they could be 1, 2, 3. So 6 is the minimum here. But what happens if that is a 6? Then that's 1, 2, 3. And how are you going to fill these 2 cells? You've only got 8 left. So that's not going to work. So it's not a 6. Oh my goodness, if it's an 8, this doesn't work as well. We get this one too. If this is an 8. Yeah, this is really clever actually. If this is an 8, what goes on the arrow? It's either 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. Now that is going to use the 8 here, so that can't go here. It's going to use a 1 here, so the 1 can't go here. But then it's got to use either a 2 or a 3 here. And that would break these. If it's 8, 1, 2, 5, then you've only got 3 for those cells. If it's 8, 1, 3, 4, you've only got 2. That is brilliant. So this isn't an 8, that's a 9. I mean, I suppose, is there, yeah, this, I don't know. I was wondering if there's a virtual 1, 2, 3 between those cells, but I'm not even going to worry about that. That's a 9 now. Yeah, 9 is always going to require 2 digits from 1, 2, and 3. The various combinations are 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5, and 2, 3, 4. And they always use 2 digits from 1, 2, 3. Therefore, yeah, there is a virtual triple. And it must only use one of 1, 2, 3, 8 here. So the other one is an 8 and is in one of those cells. What does that? Oh, this can't be a 9 anymore. I can see that. It's 6 or 7. Ooh, if I knew it was 7, it would force 7 into this cage. Do I know what the 9 is made up of? I don't think I do. Now, I mean, if you are an aficionado of the Fist of a Fell ring, you might be looking at the totals there, but I'm really convinced at this point that we're not going to need the theory to solve the puzzle. But let's see. So if we're using 1, 2, 3 amongst those cells, and we're using 9, 8, and 7, that's all definitely true. So these are from 4, 5, and 6. That's all that's going to be left. And then there's the other of 4, 5, and 6 in here, along with 2 of the small digits. Yeah, that's right. Now, what does that do to this cage? I think it says it has to have an 8 in it. If this didn't have an 8 in, it would be 7, 6, 5, 4. And obviously it can't be, and those both be from 6, 5, 4, 2. So it's definitely got an 8 in. Oh, where does 8 go in column 3 then? We can place it precisely. It can't now be in those 2 cells because we know it's in the cage. It can't be in these 3 because we know it's surrounding this quadruple circle. Can't be on the arrow because the arrow only adds up to 6 or 7, so 8 is here. So what is this cage? I can't even remember its total. Sorry, I've obscured it. It's 22. And it's got an 8 in. But there's a Kropke dot here. If 7 was here... Oh, it couldn't be. 7... Because 7 couldn't join to 8 in this cell. Yeah, that's right. 7... Oh my goodness, we can place 7 in this column. Right, 7 can't join to 8 here. It also can't join to 6 because it would break this cell. If that was a 6-7 pair, that couldn't exist. So 7 is not in those cells. 7 is not in these cells because there's one other digit in those cells and they only add up to 6 or 7. So 7 is in one of these 3 cells, but we know this is a 6, 7, 9 triple, so we know which cell it's in. It's in the circle. So that's a pair that adds up to 7. This is a consecutive pair. Oh, 7's now into the cage, isn't it? Because it can't be in these 2 cells. So we're now trying to get to 22 with 8 and 7 and 2 digits that add up to 7, which use the remaining one of these digits and one of 1, 2, 3. So these come from 1, 2, and 3, and they definitely include a 2. So the 7's not 2, 5 here. It's either 1, 6 or 3, 4. And that's forming a virtual 1, 2, 3 triple again. So these are from 4, 5, and 6 as well, just like those 2 were. That can't be a 4 because it's seeing a 3, 4 pair. Now there's a 5, 6, 7, 9 quad. Totally unexpectedly. So these are from 1, 2, and 8. That might, I mean, it might not help down here. Ooh, let's have a look at this, which doesn't have 8 in it, and therefore doesn't have 9 in it. So 9 has to be in one of these cells, and that fixes the 6, 9 pair. It does if I'm in the right mode. 6, 9 like that. This can't be 6 anymore. So this can't be 8, 7, 2, 5. So one of these is definitely a 5. This is either 8, 7, 6, 1 or 8, 7, 4, 3. Oh, actually, let's think more about this. It comes from 1 to 7, so it's definitely got a 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a string of 7 digits. I can't do 7. And the the middle one of those is a 4. So whichever string of 4 digits you choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 includes 4. So 4 is not on this arrow. That is a 1, 6 arrow. That takes 1 out of that pair. Now this is made up of 8, 7 and 6, 1 to make the 22 total. That's not a 6. Let's take out the pence, the corner mark. Right, if this doesn't have a 5 or a 4 on it, it needs a 6. It's 6, 2, 1. We can take 1, 2 out of those cells. These ones are now 1, 2, 9 in some order. Oh look, 4 has been looking down at there for the longest time. Never mind, 3, 8 there. The 3 must join to the 2. And those aren't 2s. But that 2's looking across here, fixing 3 and 2 there. This has become a 5. That's a 4. 5 can't be in those cells now. Actually, 7 can't be in those because there's a 7, 8 pair down here. This can't be 3. That's a 5. This can't be 4, so it's 6. 5. That hasn't fixed these, has it? Oh, 6 can't be in those. 5 can't be there. There's only one place left for 5. 5 is here. Yes, fair enough. Didn't see that except by elimination. These are from 1, 2 and 3. They can't be 8. And they definitely include a 3. And these definitely include an 8. Ah, and now there's no 6 on this, so it includes... Oh, and there's no 1, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4 pair in the middle, forming a lovely deadly pattern over there. 2, 5 on the ends. This is a 9, 7 pair. That's going to take 7 out of there. 4 has come out of here. What else have we got going on up the columns? Yes, that becomes a 2, so we know which way round 2, 3, 4, 5 goes. We can take 2 out of those cells. Ah, and this can't be 3. Is this now a naked single 1 somehow? Yes, it's seeing a 7, 8 pair there. It is. So that's a 1. That's an 8. That's a 2. They're all done around that 8. And this is very beautiful. We haven't used the Fistemafell ring. We're not going to have to. I'm certain now. We can take 6 out of there. And this is a very clever setup. I'm sure Marvin has done it deliberately to make it look like you have to use the ring. And maybe it's very difficult if you do, but we haven't needed to. But anyway, 2, 7, 1, 9, 6, 5. That has to be a 3, 4 pair on the dots. That's 8. This is 2 or 5. Oh, well, it connects to 6, so it's obviously 5, 4, 3. That's a 2. So that is a sequence. It didn't have to be, but it turned out it was. That's a 1 now. 5 there. That's not 1 and that's not 2. Ooh, what is it? This can't be 1 because of the white dot, because that 2 is looking at that cell. So this is the 6. They're all in. This 3, 4 pair has been done. That 8 fixes this 6, 7, 8, 9, and we can work out which way round they go. We can probably fill in all of these, not all of them, but we can get the 6 in. Now we've got a 4, 3 pair up the top here. They can go in. We've got a 2, 9 pair in column 6, 6 there, and then we're left with 1, 7 in the middle box. 9, 5, right, that fixes the 1, 9 pair over there. That fixes 8 and 1. 7 and 6 has been fixed, and we can put in 7 and 8 on a white dot that we never used or needed as far as I know. 3, 4 are done. Yes, this 7, 9 pair is done by the 1, 9 above. We can do 8 and 7. That's a very interesting idea. I mean, it really looked like it was set up to be the Fistemafell ring, and maybe it's even possible that's what Marvin intended, but it wasn't necessary. You could just make Sudoku deductions from the very clever integration of the 3 rule sets involving these 2 cages, these 2 quadruple clues that said 9. Look, 9 was in here with 1, 2, 4 in the end, and 8 with 1, 2, 3. So these were quite minimal numbers, as I suspect they had to be to fulfill the Fistmafell ring. Well, let me finish off by explaining the theory behind the Fistmafell ring, which I now like to think of as involving these symmetrical areas. So the first thing you do, think about those areas. The first thing I'm going to do is highlight all of row 3, row 7, column 3 and column 7. Now if we were to take all the numbers in those rows, it would be all these highlighted cells, but it would include these twice because they overlap. So let's make them purple for kind of double blue. Now if you take away these cells that I was talking about, what you're left with, so we're taking away that whole group of cells, and you'll see why in a moment. So we take those away, then we're left with one each of these cells that are circled in this puzzle, and you're left with those cells. So that is 4 groups of the numbers 1 to 9, which obviously populate each of row 3, row 7, column 3 and column 7, minus these areas. So 4 groups of the numbers 1 to 9 minus those areas gives you that ring. And the other way to look at it is to highlight the four corner boxes, which again are 4 sets of the numbers 1 to 9. So I'm going to highlight these in green this time. And now again, if from those different 4 sets of the groups 1 to 9, I take away the same cells, I must be left with the same cells as the other way around, because 4 groups of 1 to 9 are always 4 1s, 4 2s, etc. And now these cells that I'm left with are 16 cells in the corners, and they must be exactly the same digits as appeared when we took those 4 groups away from row 3 and 7, column 3 and 7. And that can be very useful. So we could have begun this puzzle by going, let's add 27 and 22, 9 and its minimum cells, 8 and its minimum cells, and then compare with what we can manage to put as maxima in the arrows. Because these couldn't have had a 9 in, because there's a 9 in there by the rule, there's a 9 in there by the cage total. So those were forced to be 8 and 7 at the max. I suppose you can only put 1 9 in one of these. You would, I think, be left with the puzzle of knowing whether there was an 8 in that cage to stop this going 9 8. But I don't know how it works that way. I haven't solved it that way. I've solved it a slightly purer Sudoku way, and I suspect Marvin made that deliberately to kind of lead you into Fistmafell ring solving. I'd be very interested to hear how you found that in the comments, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye for now.